The orientation will kind of be like this, where we walk people through and we say, okay, this is this, that's over there, we describe it a little bit. So in the back of your head, you can think about, okay, well, new member joins, this is kind of what they're going to go through as well, to get a feel for what we can do and who's teaching the class.
Do additional electronics prototyping, thinking an Arduino, things that probably middle school and up can start working around with. I haven't talked to you about this yet, but eventually I want to get a pick-and-place machine, a reflow oven, and then maybe a desktop CNC, and we can start doing prototyping of actual circuit boards here. And because those have also all come down in cost, you could probably get each of those for like $2,000, which is super nice. But the idea is to be able to design electronics and breadboards and test them and fix things that you've got coming up. Full parts bin, have classes here, it's like make whatever you see, like let's make a robot or something. We could do that here eventually. So.
Nice.
Yeah, so we have 3 FDM printers and 1 SLA printer, which will be hosting classes on how to set up any of these printers on being able to print whatever model you want. We'll teach you how to fill up the filament, how to adjust the level, all of that. We also have a multi-filament palette, I believe, that lets you have multiple colored filaments in for whatever you want to print. We'll also be having classes on how to 3D model.
So, you know, I've done my daughter's wedding gowns. I wouldn't do it for anybody else. But, you know, that, and I mean, I can do, you know, any other basic sewing, but what I focus on is clothing and costume. And I work for the Civic Youth Ballet, and it's out of Hackettstown, and the dance school, North Jersey School of Dance Arts. I do their costuming for them.
Dish towels, hot pads, coasters, table runners, those nice little decorative things that go in the middle of the table. Going back to what you said about doing some upholstery, I'm not too good with a nail and a hammer, but I've done some cushions, covered cushions for people that needed to put a mudroom in their garage or wanted some cushions for a bench for their child. Some quilting, I've done a number of quilts for children's twin-size beds and some queen-size beds, which are really, really big. So it's mostly your utilitarian items that I kind of focus on.
So this is the Future of Fine Arts display area. So this is where we're going to actually show and display some of the work that's actually happening in the makerspace. Also, we want to have painting and fine art work here. So it's under development, but it's great because you got the view of the street and people can look up and see everything that's going on. So excited to get this going, hopefully in the next, 15, 20 minutes, Frank?
Rooms that ceramics inhabits or will inhabit. We've got a bunch of wheels, as Dan talked about. We have slab roller, hand working tables, wedging area, a bunch of whole hand building accoutrement, and then shelving storage for student work in progress. And then in the other room, there's all our glaze making and kiln area, hopefully for further expansion with maybe more kilns, maybe a gas kiln, so on and so forth. Our classes will start with beginning ceramics, then intermediate and advanced, and so forth. So students usually just continually take classes around the clock. They do have open studio where they can come in and work and finish up projects and such, but that's usually how they're based. As we get going, we'll offer more specialized classes. So this is like part 2 of the ceramic studio. This would be the glazing area and the kiln area. We currently have a kiln, a brand new kiln, almost ready to go. Need some ventilation work and such. That's our spray booth. So one way to glaze is dipping, pouring, brushing, but that's also a spray booth. It's kind of like a airbrush for glaze. Glaze making area, some donated glaze materials, which we're always appreciative of. Possible second kiln addition as we grow, and Dan and I have talked about utilizing that space over there, so that would be nice for future kiln area, maybe gas kiln down the line. But
So you know, these are all cubbies. There's no charge. If someone leaves them there and they get stolen, we're not responsible, but that's just storage. Oh man, what are you doing? You're breaking the wheels. It's your masterpiece. So here is our, this is our famous gear wall, donation wall. So Mr. Whalen actually designed all the gears and printed them out. And basically the idea is that when you donate money or time or effort, we put your name or your logo from their business on a gear. And the idea is that we're all working together to make it happen. And the gears... All right, let's keep going. Yeah, so eventually, hopefully this whole wall is covered with gears. It actually worked pretty good.
That's good, yeah.
So this area here is for members to store stuff. They have their own lock, they have their own combination, and there's a small fee for the lockers. That will be stocked with drinks eventually.
Okay. So this is the wood shop. My main goal is to help the students get over the fear of using tools, and that's one of my main sayings is that a sharp tool is actually a safe tool. Dull tools they lead to frustration, and frustration leads to mistakes. So that's my main goal. As soon as students working, like I like that sign that you put up. If the lights are on, you need safety glasses. As soon as you walk in, you need safety glasses and have a mask. A dust mask on their pocket, so that way they don't have to breathe all the dust. I'm planning on helping students, build smaller stuff first, then start doing a little bit more complicated joinery. Joinery is a big part of furniture making. Wood turning, if you want to build something small. So intro courses, mostly because it is a small shop, and if we need to move things around, then I'll do it as we move on. We move on.
So this is our brand new Avid CNC that we got. It can pretty much cut whatever you need, however you need it. We're going to be hosting classes on how to interface with our CNC software to set up whatever design that you want, and then just how to basically get something going. And then pretty much how it works is in the software you give it like a tool path, and then the software then translates to the machine on where to move the spindle at what rate, what position, all of that, and it cut out pretty much anything. Like if you've ever done one of those like laser cut pieces of plywood that like make like a helicopter or like a dinosaur or something, kind of think of something like that, but for like bigger pieces of wood. But you don't have to do something as big. You can do kind of something finer, like I don't know, like a tiny little like gear or something as big as like a tabletop.
But it's wood. Is what it cuts.
Yeah. So it can pretty much cut whatever. It just depends on what bit you have.
I don't want people forgetting about them, and we lose tools, and we have a lot of tools here. We encourage people to bring their own tools and bring their own supplies, but we want to have enough here so that if they don't have anything, they can still work here. So we've got two full tool chests and more of tools in both rooms, in this room and the metalworking room. I am not the machinist. I know a little bit. Joe Kaczynski is running the machine shop, and he's not here today. He doesn't feel well. I can give you a little overview. So basically, we have all the core machines that are needed for machine shop. A drill press, and that's basically, and a workstation here. So everything you need. You also see tool cabinets. Some of these tools, as was mentioned before, are not metal tools, but they're here for safety. And you have another toolbox over there that has all the machine supplies in there. Also, another cabinet with more supplies. We've got welding helmets, we have welding gloves, we've got welding leathers all over. So basically everything you need to learn how to machine is right here. The other thing we're trying to make easy for the members is storage. So instead of bringing your project back and forth, you can put your name on this. You can put actually a lock on it if you want to store all your stuff in these boxes. We charge for these boxes. We charge for the lockers, but at least you can keep your stuff here. Mainly for thin metal and sheet metal. This cuts the metal. This is anybody know the name of this? Shear? I think it's shear, right? This is the brake, so this bends the sheet metal and the metal. So we've got that here, and then moving back here.
Yeah, so this is our laser here that we have at CreateIT Labs. It can pretty much cut and engrave pretty much about anything as long as it's not, reflective, and you just give it enough time. So I think, here's like an example of something that I cut here. So yeah, I was using it for cutting and then engraving, and I gave this away for a Christmas present a couple years ago, or 2 years ago. Yep. And I think we'll be offering classes for how to operate the machine, and then once again how to figure out how to cut things out of different materials and how to design stuff for cutting on the laser printer.
We'll just we'll teach people how to control the gas flow settings on the machines. What kind of metals they can weld, what kind of metals they can't weld, and we have separate spaces, so and with guards, so that way if you're welding, then the person next to you who's not welding doesn't get the arc on their eyes and hurt themselves. So that I love that, that's separate. Each section is separated by the sheet of metal. Those are AC/DC, so you can actually weld aluminum and steel. The different settings, but pretty much you can do anything with those.
Okay, so this is the end of the tour. This is the parking lot where we come out and hang out and do stuff outside if we ever want to. Eventually it'll be nice. So I just want to thank everybody for coming today, and onward.